Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Siddharth Malik, and I am the Chief Revenue Officer of Freshworks. I welcome you all to this fireside chat, turning a disaster into success. And I'm privileged and honored to host Chatri Sityodtong. Chatri is an entrepreneur and a martial artist from Thailand, best known as the founder, chairman, and CEO of One Championship. Chatri was named Asia's second most powerful person in sports by Fox Sports. One Championship is Asia's largest global sport media property with the broadcast to more than 150 countries around the world. One Championship is a celebration of Asia's greatest culture treasures, martial arts and sports, and the deep-rooted values of integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, discipline, and compassion. Chatri, welcome to this fireside chat. It's a great
Hey,
honor to have you.
thank you so much for having me, Sid. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Chatri, I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs on this call, and One Championship is now Asia's biggest sport, billions of people watching it. How did One Championship begin? And talk us about the failures and the rejection that made you what you are today.
Yeah, so, when I started One Championship, I had a crazy idea. Every region of the world had several multi-billion dollar sports media properties. But Asia literally had nothing at the time. This was 8.5 years ago. And, you have NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. And NFL is worth $92 billion market cap. NBA is worth 54 billion. You go to Europe, there's EPL, F1, also worth tens of billions. You come to Asia, 8.5 years ago, there was a sports property called IPL in India. It was huge in India, but nowhere else. And other than that, there was no sports properties. I mean, there are country-specific ones. So I said, I'm going to try to unite 4 billion people in Asia around Asia's greatest cultural treasure, which is martial arts. And I wanted to showcase the greatest world champions on the biggest stage like Olympics and share their values, tell their stories, and watch our heroes achieve their dreams. And in my mind, I thought it was going to be easy. But Sid, the first 3 years, literally nothing happened. I faced rejection after rejection, failure after failure for 3 years straight, like thousands of rejections, thousands of failures. Investors, broadcasters, brands, governments, agencies, athletes, it didn't matter. I mean, you just get no traction. Everyone thought I was stupid or crazy. Like, why would Asia need a sports property? We already have on TV, we have NBA or F1 or EPL soccer, or in India there's already IPL. We don't need another sports property. That stuff is for the West. And, I was lucky in that I've been doing martial arts my whole life. I've been doing it for 35 plus years. I've been a student, a fighter, a teacher, a coach, and now a CEO. If I didn't love martial arts, if I didn't love what I was doing, if I didn't believe in the vision, I think I would have quit a long time ago because I suffered so many rejections and so many failures. And I'll tell you a funny story is at the end of the third year, I was getting losing tens of millions of my own money and my best friend's money. And we had both had made it on Wall Street before this. And so I already had some, I was already well capitalized from that perspective. But nonetheless, it came to the point where I was almost going to quit. And I remember calling her, and she's this very conservative Japanese lady. I'm half Japanese, half Thai, although I grew up in Thailand. Right. And it's so much harder than I thought. I'm thinking about quitting. And mind you, when I was going to start One Championship, my mom was very against it because she's a conservative Japanese lady. She was very happy that her son, went to Harvard Business School and then had his own hedge fund on Wall Street and was wearing a suit and tie every day. And that was her image of me, and that's what she wanted. And so when I said, Mom, I'm thinking about quitting, nothing, we're not getting airtime, with no viewership, no athletes, nothing was happening. I was just learning, throwing events and blowing millions of dollars for no reason. And my mom said, great, why don't you just quit? You should have listened to mommy before. And, after I hung up, my mom said, just quit. And martial arts is my greatest passion in life. I train every day, even till now. Okay, every day.
Wow.
And so I thought, just quit. And I realized, I went back to my why. Why did I start this thing? I love martial arts, my greatest passion. I want the world to see the true beauty of martial arts. I want the world to have heroes unleashed who inspire the world with hope, strength, dreams, and inspiration. On a business plan, it didn't say we want to throw fights, or we want to, as a mission, or we want to throw lots of events, or we want 1 billion viewers, or whatever. The mission was very simple: to unleash real-life superheroes who ignite the world with hope, strength, dreams, and inspiration through their stories, their values, and their achievements. Very much like the Olympics. And, if you think about Tendulkar, why is Tendulkar a revered icon? Because he came from absolutely nothing to become one of the world's greatest cricketers, and brought India to the World Championship, and brought honor and glory to the country and to every Indian, 1.3 billion people. That is the power of sports. That's the power of hero. That's the power of inspiring a nation. And so I want to inspire all of Asia, 4 billion people around Asia's greatest cultural treasure, 5,000-year history of martial arts in Asia. There is a martial art, homegrown martial art, every single country in Asia. Even India. India has Kali Parutu. It has obviously Dangal. The Dangal, the movie, the Fogat sisters. There's a very rich tradition even in India, and so I want to celebrate these heroes, and I want to create. Now our mission is to make the most valuable sports property, and my leadership team and we're gunning for $100 billion property. And people say we're crazy, but people have said that many, many times already. So one thing I'll say to your listeners, to your viewers, is screw the haters, naysayers, and doubters. Do what it is that ignites your soul. Give everything to it. Obviously, have a big market opportunity, have a vision, have an execution plan, surround yourself by the greatest team possible. But there's always a battle of listening to your fears, doubts, and insecurities, listening to the haters, listening to the haters, doubters, and naysayers, versus listening to your passion and your purpose, and believing in your vision.
Awesome. No, that's great to know, Chatri. As you rightly said that there were so many rejections, and what were the qualities which basically held you right, and then you said that to yourself that, okay, I want to continue with it and I want to make it successful. Indirectly, what are the qualities which makes a world champion?
Yeah. So, it's funny because I was in Japan throwing an event a year ago, and a year and a half ago. And I was having dinner with one of our client broadcast partners. And he asked me, Chatri, what makes a world champion? And I paused, and I thought about it for a second and said, you know what? My 35 years of doing martial arts, every aspect of it, right? Teaching, competing, everything. I said, a world champion is somebody who can win under any circumstance. You see, a good fighter, a good top fighter, he can win or she can win when the conditions are perfect. I had good sleep, I had a good training camp, I had a good diet, my weight was good, my training, my coaching, my teammates, my family situation at home was stable, everything was perfect. I went to the arena early, everything was just perfect. I fought an easier opponent, I win. Can win under any circumstance. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Angela Lee, 2.5 years ago, she's our current atomweight world champion. 1 week before the fight, big fight, huge fight in Singapore and broadcast around the world. 1 week before, her father calls me and says, Chatri, we just came back from the doctors. She's been diagnosed with pneumonia. 1/3 of her lungs is full of fluid, and she's on heavy medication. And my reply to him was, okay, great. No problem. Let's cancel the fight. Do you want to announce it today, or do you want to announce it on Monday? Because the big event is a week from now, right? And he goes, no. Angela doesn't want to back out of the fight. And I said, what do you mean? Angela's 21 years old at the time, maybe 20 years old at the time. She said, Angela wants to fight. I said, she's going to lose her title. That's just ridiculous. It's crazy. She has pneumonia. And her dad said, I asked Angela 3 times to back out, and she doesn't want to back out. She wants to take medication. We have 1 week to go, and hopefully she can recover by then. So that was a Friday, and our event was the following Friday. On Monday, I went to go watch her train, just because I wanted to see, you know, she's her last preparation before the big match. The match is 5 rounds of 5 minutes. Very, very exhausting. I watched her training. She lasted only 1.5 rounds, and she fell down to the ground and couldn't breathe because you're on medication. Lungs are full of fluid, and you have pneumonia. And I said to Angela, hey, Angela, man, there's no point. Just the fight is in 4 days. Just quit. Just stop. No, sir.
Right.
No, sir. Fight day on Friday. I'm like, man, here's our biggest star, and she has a world title, and she's going to lose, and no one will know about it because she'll get beat up so badly and look horrible because she has pneumonia. I go to the backstage locker room, to the champions locker room. She's lying on the floor, wrapped up in blankets because she's been vomiting all day and she has a fever. And her parents had put her, like, you know, trying to keep her, her temperature, sweat it out. And I looked at her, and I was like, one look at her, I was like, that's it. And I pulled her father out and said, hey, let's cancel the event right now. There's no point. I mean, I know it's fight night. I know there's a lot of fights going on, and I know she's the main event, but cancel it. Chatri, let's go. We went inside. I said, Angela, cancel it. She said, no, sir. I'm going to fight. I thought it was immaturity. I said, man, a 20-year-old kid doesn't know what she's doing. She's going to lose everything. 1.5 rounds into the fight, she finishes the fight and wins. And in that one, if you go watch the fight, she's slapping the canvas and she's crying. Nobody knows what she went through. She goes backstage right away to the medicals and she's puking. She saved enough of her will. And so what I say is, there are a lot of corollaries to business and entrepreneurship and startup life, right? A great world champion finds a way to win no matter what. Just like a startup, you have to have creativity to solve problems never seen before. And you have to have resilience. You have to have grit, the ability to overcome failure after failure, rejection after rejection, and yet find a way to win. And that is the secret, I believe, of success in life. Everyone, if you go around the world, say, hey, would you like to buy a house? Would you like to buy a house for your parents? Would you like to be a millionaire? Would you like to start a company? Would you like to be a world champion? Would you like a gold medal in the Olympics? Everyone raise their hand, yeah. But when you say you have to go through these sacrifices, this amount of suffering, this amount of pain, everyone wants the glory, but they don't understand the journey. The journey is one of grit and resilience coupled with incredible creativity with the will to win. And you find a way. And so, this story of Angela, it's this little 20-year-old, she taught me one of the greatest lessons of life. I doubted her. The minute the fight started, the first round, she was trying desperately to win. After the first round, I looked at her, she was sitting in the corner between the rounds. I said, I knew she has only 1 round left and then she would lose the fight. 1 minute later, she won the fight. That's a world champion for you.
Beautiful. Chatri, you mentioned about the journey and in the young entrepreneur's mind, sometimes there is a lot of conflict saying that, okay, whether we should focus on the journey, whether we should focus on the destination, whether we should focus on the measurables, like measuring your progress every day, focus on the metric, focus on the number, or focus also on which is not measurable, like focus on people, the passion, the happiness. What would be your advice to the entrepreneurs? How do they blend these two concepts together?
Right. So I think I always say to my team, it's the immeasurable that drives the measurable. The big mistake that I think many entrepreneurs make is they chase numbers for numbers' sake. And what do I mean by that? What actually drives the numbers? It's actually a deep sense of purpose from your team. It's a team all in, 1,000% giving their life and soul for this mission. It is teamwork. It is, resilience and creativity. It is so many other soft attributes that actually drive the numbers. And if you drive your team without understanding that, and just focus on the numbers, you'll miss the whole point of life, but also of how to unleash greatness from your team, how to unleash extraordinary performance. And so for me, culture is the engine of extraordinary performance. You can have all metrics in the world, but if you don't have a phenomenal culture, one where people feel genuinely inspired every day to come to work, one where they love each other, they believe wholeheartedly in the mission, and they are ignited by a cause bigger than themselves. You know, I always say that if you don't fight for something, if you are not fighting for something bigger than yourself, then you're dying for nothing. Literally nothing. So if you can create a culture where the team, the leadership and the team is fighting for something far bigger than themselves, and suddenly have a why ignited in their souls, that it's, you know, as all matters of the heart, either you're on or you're off. There is no gray, there's no gray. So if you create a culture in which everyone's fully ignited, their hearts are on fire, that will lead. Obviously, you have to have a strong vision. You have to have a strong execution plan. You have to have a strong way to measure results. But all that doesn't matter if you don't start off with the immeasurable. So I always say the immeasurable is what drives the measurable. And I think too often people are too enamored by numbers and don't realize, how do you create sustainable success over the long run? In the short run, anybody can gain numbers. But do you have a process? Do you have people? Do you have culture? An inspired thing that unleashes everyone's potential such that the numbers become sustainable over time, and that, you know, at the end of the day, metrics are an output. Make sure you take care of the input. Make sure the input is on.
Awesome. Coming back to your journey, Chatri, and you talked about the fire, the passion, igniting that. When you started your company, how were you able to put together a team that is driving what is being driven today from a company perspective? What, according to you, is really a team spirit?
So, you know, when I first started One Championship, as I said, I was rejected by I had thousands of rejection failures, and that included people. Like, no one wanted to be part of One Championship. It was a stupid idea. Who cares about sports? I got this. Asians don't care about sports. You know, we care about being an engineer or being a doctor. No one wants to join a sports company. And so the first 30 employees, literally, we just cobbled together, you know, anybody who just loved martial arts, but not necessarily competent or not necessarily have skills to bring to the table. So it was a very odd startup in that regard, that it was just, for lack of a better way to say it, is like anybody who had 2 legs and 2 arms was eligible to work at One Championship in that first year, because literally no one applied. We put out job specs, no one applied. And anyone applied, after one interview, they just pulled themselves out of the interview. It was just, again, like I said, disaster after disaster. And but what I realized over time was, even if individuals themselves may be unremarkable, you can still create a remarkable team. And it all begins with a mission. And as I said before, you know, fighting for something much bigger than yourself. If you can create a powerful why, a powerful purpose for each individual, and it's all a common goal and it's genuine. You can't just be like, hey, let's go for $1 billion. No, honestly, no one gives a shit about $1 billion market cap. No one cares. Maybe the founder cares, but no one else cares. Even the founders shouldn't care, because that for me is your market cap should be a byproduct of doing good work. But
right.
And I know a lot of founders who give a quantified, hey, let's hit 100 million users. That has zero for human inspiration, for bringing out the very best in people. People need to fight for something much bigger than themselves. You know why in the Olympics, We have, world records broken, and many stories of Olympic athletes who, might have performed good in training, but suddenly on the game day, when the Olympic gold medals on the line, they win it with a performance of their lifetime. It's because they're fighting for their country, something much bigger than themselves. They're fighting for the families, their team. They're fighting for everyone invested in them, for all the sacrifices they suffered. They have the whole country of India rallying for them, watching on TV, and they know, and that brings out the very best. The same thing. It's like a leader must create a culture, an inspired culture where everyone has a higher purpose and shared values. So very, very important is in our interview process, I really look for people with shared values. And shared values, why? You can create your own tribe. You see, if we have different values, then yes, you can have a common vision, common mission, but we're not going to gel together as a team. But it doesn't matter what country you come from, it doesn't matter your religion, your social status, your education, all that doesn't matter. Those are surface level things. What matters is, how are you as a human being? Who are you? So we say integrity, happiness, excellence, continuous self-improvement, teamwork, and loyalty are our 6 core values at One Championship. And we genuinely look for happy people. We look for inspired people. We believe that happiness generates extraordinary performance. And if I look at the people who didn't make it in One Championship, they fooled us in the interview process, and then when they got to the company, they were either bitter or negative, and they ended up, on one hand, we have an inspired culture. On one hand, it's a ruthless culture, meaning that if you're not a world champion, or you don't want to be a world champion in life, you're going to be quickly weeded out. And so there's kind of a balance. You want inspiration to drive everything, but you want a standard of excellence, a standard of detail orientation everyone upholds to. And if you can't meet those things, you should be out, because it's a world champion team. And I'll tell you, A+ people want to work with A+ people. Inspired people want to work with inspired people. So as a leader, as a founder, you have to be ruthless in firing very quickly when you find people are not sharing your values, or being a negative Nelly, or being a cancer in your company. And so you have to, as a founder, be prepared. So being happy and being inspired does not mean being soft.
Right. No, that's a great way to put it. Chatri, you have scaled so much since you started your company, and just give us some sense. How were you able to build your initial audience and thereby went on to generate revenue for your company?
So I think we got very lucky. I joke around, but I actually think it's the truth. I'm like the Forrest Gump of sports. I didn't know that the smart mobile device would explode the last 8 years. I didn't know that social media would explode. Remember, this is 8.5 years ago, 9 years ago. And I didn't know one thing, right? On the mobile device, on the mobile device, on the mobile device, you can't see a cricket ball, you can't see a tennis ball, you can't see a golf ball, you can't see a basketball, you can't see a soccer ball. But on mobile device, you can see 2 world champion martial artists compete. And you can see it crystal clear. And martial arts fights are short form content, exciting content. So after I hung up from my mom at the end of year 3, I thought back to my why and I said, I'm going to keep going on. And you know why I was so lucky? Was because that year, our entire year, we had 140,000 video views for the whole year, 140,000. The next 5 years, that 140,000 grew to 7 billion. So you have to imagine, this is how that looked for the first 3 years. And then the next 5 years like this. So if I had quit, when my mom told me to quit, but I know my mom was using reverse psychology on me, she knows how to get me to go. Right? So, and it's a story of a lot of luck, because when we started telling our hero stories with Facebook and putting on their incredible achievements in snippets on Facebook, it went viral all over the world. So, like I said, and the rise of mobile devices in Asia, the rise of social media usage, Facebook, and then our sport happened to be perfect for the mobile device compared to any other sport, any other incumbent sport. You're not going to watch F1 200 laps of a race car on your mobile phone.
Right.
It's already hard enough to see cricket on a real live match on your mobile phone. So I would say that we got very, very lucky. We put out content and it went viral around the world, and it just kept on happening. And then, of course, then we managed the creative process of creating great content and events and going live and around the world. And you know, we went country by country to the broadcasters. So we're on Star Sports and Hotstar in India. And we just kept on doing this until to the point where we have 150, 160 countries now. And out of 100, I think a potential of 196 countries. And obviously our plan is to go the full globe over the next few years. But more importantly is making sure that we ignite all of Asia over the next few years and really get China and India and everywhere else really enamored and invested as fans into our heroes and our stories and their achievements. So I would say, you know, you work hard and sometimes you get lucky. Once we recognized that our content was resonating on the mobile device, full on. Actually, I made a big bet, a pivotal bet in year 4. I dropped everything and said, guys, we're going to put content, everything on Facebook. All we have on Facebook. And it just virally, you know, we went from, you know, zero, you know, I don't know, 100,000 fans, 10,000 fans to today, I think we have 23, 24 million fans on Facebook. And it just, yeah, I mean, a lot of luck. But once we saw that we're lucky, we were able to capitalize on that because of creativity and resilience, right? So resilience got us through the first 3 years. We got a little bit lucky realizing our content was resonating, then creating a creative process and a metric-driven process to drive organic video views, to drive viewership on TV, to drive viewership across all platforms. But it's a creative process that starts everything, and that creative process is people. So we have to have inspired souls working. They can't be working from a place of negativity, working from fear. They can't be working from a place of any negative emotions like hatred or anger. They've got to come from a beautiful place of inspiration, of love, of freedom. And but like I said, as a founder, you know, maybe I'm 95% of the time I'm a nice guy trying to create for the team, but 5% of the time I'm having to, you know, weed out the underperformers or be very, very tough on the people that are not marching to the same beat as the rest of the company. So whether it's poor behavior, values, you know, whatever it is, you know, you have to be tough in order. And again, the idea is making sure that the culture is always protected and outstanding. And anything that is interrupting the culture, you have to be ruthless and kick them out or reprimand them or, you know, in order to protect the culture.
No, thank you, Chatri, for sharing that. And I'm sure our organizers are telling us that time is up. But I want to really thank you. There was so many nuggets of advice for our entrepreneurs here. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chatri. I think the entire team was just talking about being able to download this video. In fact, this is being live streamed on some of our Freshworks channels. And I think this has been like a roller coaster ride as well. Thank you so much, Chatri. And if someone's not yet watched the videos, I think we're going to be playing the One Championship videos during one of the breaks. You should check them out. They're very, very fancy. Thank you so much, Chatri. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.